That guy was dead, boy. We got Rose, boy. What the boy? Selassie, boy. Selassie, boy. Rose, girl, boy. All them girl get blown up, boy. See that, boy? Yeah. There's gas. Well, how do we got to them continue yard, boy? We go over them people, boy.
All right, hey, guess what? Good morning. It's another day of mourning, and at some point in time, we have to snap out of this way of life in Guyana. At some point in time, we've got to snap out of it. The country has been mourning since August 1st, 2020. The country continues to mourn every single day under this installed, corrupt, racist, murderous regime. All right, let's see. We got some information for you, and the usual thing that the regime usually love. They love to cover things up. They don't want you to hear the truth. That is why they moved into Mahdia. They covered up the family, so to speak, giving the impression that they're protecting the family when in fact they're not. They're more concerned about the photo ops and the props and all sorts of things that we're seeing. That is unacceptable. The people need the truth. And the truth is that the truth what the PPP is attempting to package by laying all the blame on the doorsteps of this young lady, whoever she is, and to say that she was upset because a teacher took her phone. And then she was upset because the dorm mother took her phone. Who really took her phone? But she's upset. And so she allegedly did, scratch some match or whatever it is that she used and just burned the place down. Allegedly. And now I have my suspicions about this particular angle that the PPP wants us, Irfan Ali, they want us to believe because they have packaged that. And so we must run with it. I will more believe that part of the story if there's an independent investigations. And now we can't depend on these folks. At this point in time, they're skinning their teeth. People are supposed to be mourning the deaths of 19 young people, but these people sitting there, skinning their teeth, making mockery of a situation. You've just got to be reasonable now. Don't you think I'd love to probably post a nice little selfie of me smiling or probably somewhere having fun? I see some people, and I'm not saying that the world should come to a standstill, but especially if you're in public, you gotta be very, very careful what you post and how you position yourself for a photograph. You're skinning your teeth at this, sitting at a table, lighting a candle, and skinning the teeth. That's the permanent secretary, by the way, the controversial permanent secretary who seems to be in hiding. She shouldn't even be there. She probably should have already been out of that position as permanent secretary, but the usual thing with these guys. All right, should be joined by a few folks, hopefully. But before that, I just want to say that the leader of the opposition has made it to Mahdia, and I say has made it to Mahdia because of the lack of air transportation there. Um, looks as though Jerry Govai and the guys basically locked everything up, and apparently they're making millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. But these two culprits have to go. And I'll get back to this guy here, Ropes and Ben. Forget about the other waste of time individuals sitting next to him there. These guys are covering a lot of things up. That is why they want you to believe that it is we must focus on this little girl. I'm not saying we should take our focus away from the allegations that what she did, allegations, mind you, but we must be able to hear the truth. We want to hear from her as well. I'm not saying that she's going to come out and talk and have a press conference or whatever, but a lawyer should step in and try to represent her so that we can be able to get to the bottom as to whether the allegations that are being leveled against her are true or not, or what is the truth. That is what we need to. Now, I saw in the Stabroek News that there's a report about fire service doing inspections and so forth. I got some news for you guys about that. And you know, there's a guy who's head of the township there, not the mayor, not the deputy mayor, but a PPP guy by the name of Ramotar. I'm not sure if he's Donald Ramotar's brother, but a very, very insensitive comment he made. And in fact, lots of insensitive comments he made. And concerning when a Stabroek News reporter was asking him about inspection. And that's what caught my attention, that he apparently was running away from that. And he couldn't say how many fire extinguishers were there at the dorm. He couldn't say anything. All we heard was that there was an inspection conducted, I believe it was either November of last year and February of this year. Now, my information says that that is not true. That is not true. There was no inspection. Again, there was no inspection conducted by the fire service. There was no inspection conducted by the fire service there in Mahdia. Absolutely none. And that is why we need an independent investigation. And this was back in 2012 when they were happy they got a fire hose, and they were happy about that. But you put a fire service in an area, and then there's limited access to water. And what's the sense that you have a fire engine and you have this, and then there's a fire, and then there's no water? Absolutely none. So you're only wasting taxpayers' monies. You're wasting the time with the firefighters. You're wasting people's time, and you're fooling the community. There's no water. There's nothing. Nothing at all where the fire station is located. The fire truck or the fire engine, it barely could fetch about 2 barrels of water. I might be exaggerating with the 2 barrels there or whatever, just a limited amount of water that you just go and you splash it, and then you got to rush back to get more water and all of these things. Oil-rich country with billions of dollars, and a tongue such as Mahdia. And Mahdia is now a tongue, compliments of the coalition, compliments of the coalition. After 23 years, they couldn't beautify this place, and look at how it was looking under the coalition. But you spend all of that money for one fire, a small fire station with just one small truck, and that's it for an entire tongue. One fire truck, one. at all. One. That is why these two culprits, they prefer to give billion-dollar contracts, hundreds of millions of dollars of contracts to their friends and their cronies, like the Mohammeds. And that is why when they give these billions of dollars of contracts, hundreds of millions of dollars of contracts to their friends or their cronies, their friends and cronies can now go and give out back little crumbs to make it appear that they're really doing something and they care and they're giving back and all kind of crap. And that is what they're more concerned about, as opposed to doing something for the community. Now, enough of me talking for a bit. I want to take you guys, and I was hoping to connect with Neville. Civic, you got the information. Check in your inbox. You want to join, come in the studio. Just come on in the studio. But before all of that, I want you guys to take a look at when the leader of the opposition was there. Finally, got a flight, or maybe they took the minibus. I don't know. But the leader of the opposition, Aubrey Norton, is or was in Mahdia as of yesterday. And what you will hear from some of the people will not shock you, but it will open your eyes further. And it will have some question marks lingering in your minds, right? As to what exactly, and here's the question, what exactly is the PPP covering up? Why are they bent on only pushing this narrative that the fire was started by this, allegedly by this little girl? Story done. Nothing else happened. But I tell you guys, there are lots of things, lots of question marks. And we've got to get to the bottom of that. We can't allow the PPP to take control of continuing spreading their lies and their propaganda about what really happened on that dreadful, that horrific evening when 19 young people lost their lives. Listen to this trip and what others in the community had to say. But before we go to that, we have the Honorable Mayor of Georgetown with us. Here we have Mr. Pandit Ugraj Narain. Mr. Mayor, good morning.
I, Mark. I have to say good afternoon where I am.
Yeah, good afternoon. I made to understand that you're in Kenya.
Yeah, in Kenya on a human rights conference.
Your human rights conference, indeed. I'm glad that you took time out. You're in a conference right now. You took the time out to come and say a few things as to how you feel about this fire out there in Mahdia. Go ahead, sir.
Um, Mark, I've been following the news since I heard about the incident that took place in Madhya, and I did issue a press release where I did call for a COI to investigate that matter properly, and there are a number of questions I also asked in that press release. Where was the fire truck? Where were the keys to the door of those grill door? Where were only one individual was assigned to so many children? All of these questions need to be answered by the authority, which is the PUP government. The Minister of Home Affairs should resign with immediate effect. The Minister of Health should be resigned with immediate effect. But I can't understand what is really happening in my homeland, Guyana, under the PPP administration. And we must not take these things lightly. We must not take these things lightly in our country. There should be peaceful protests throughout the country. Imagine these questions are unanswered by the government of the day. Where are we heading? How we gonna secure our future with this kind of leadership? It is very sad to see that those kids, 2 days, not fully even 2 days, the government officials brought them out the hospital, take them to Umanayana for a vigil, a candlelight vigil. Look at that nonsense. Is these people don't have a heart? They do not know what exactly is happening with those kid mind, and you taking them in front all these hundred of people. They have been traumatized within. I never disrespect the Minister of Education. I have tremendous respect for the Minister of Education. But the post that she made where she said that was a children wish to be there, they can't, those kids can't think at that point for themselves. You cannot say that that is a wish of them. You're there as an authoritative body to guide those kids, to give them certain counseling at this point of time, to ensure they have all comfort in that little room or wherever they're staying. You bringing the kids in front all of these people, the minister, I have no respect for. Social protection, Dr. Vindi Prasad, who is a total waste of a minister in that country. Hug the kid and walk with them. She should have better sense as a minister of social protection and human service to engage technical people before doing such an act. The entire government, the entire government is running in a kind of way, in a dic- dictatorship, and they don't care about anybody. They don't care. All they care about is to show off. And what bothers me the most is that the government used this whole issue politically. Politically, everything is done politically in that country at this point of time. And I don't know where are we heading. I'm in Kenya. I've been to South Korea, right?
We're experiencing some bad connection there with you in Kenya. We're glad to see that you're okay, and glad to hear your comments, even under the circumstances. We're as far off as you are. You have made the time to actually comment on what's happening. Mr. Mayor, we need an independent investigation as opposed to just hearing one particular individual, the allegations of one individual. Just basically, the PPP expect us to say, okay, this little girl allegedly did it, and that's it, it's done with. But there should be an
No,
independent
no, but Mark, let me take a point there. You cannot cast blame on that girl. You need to get a proper investigation. I agree with you. You can't just say this young lady had caused the fire, because if the young lady caused the fire, where was the guard? Where was the person in charge of all these kids? It's just like that. A fire will catch the blind and catch the ceiling, just like that, man. You must get smoke. You must hear screaming. Nothing can happen within 2 minutes. So there should be an independent investigation on this matter. You can't blame the child, and that young lady need comfort as well. She need attention.
I agree with you. We also need to hear her side. She should be given afforded a lawyer. We don't want her to be railroaded in this thing here because, for all you know, almost everything they're saying might not be accurate. So we need to get to the bottom of it, and that's just what it is. Mr. Mayor, if you have any other quick thing, I know you're at the conference there. I'll give you this opportunity to wrap up before you head back.
Mark, and viewers out there, the opposition and the people of Guyana should not take this matter lightly. They should not take this matter lightly in that country. This is 19 or 20 lives born in a fire at and the state responsible for those kids. The state, this should not be taken lightly in that country. I called on the international community to look into these matter. Human rights. Guyana don't have human rights anymore. It only have PPP rights, and that is how I seen it. PPP rights alone.
Yeah.
There are no civil society. There are no human rights anymore.
Just PPP rights. That's it.
Just PPP rights. What PPP say, it goes. Yeah. And this should not take lightly in that country. Peaceful protests should demand answers from the government.
Yeah.
The ministers them should resign. The ministers them who in charge of these kind of housing the children and to take care of them, see everything okay with them, they should resign. Minister Ben for Home Affairs should resign immediately. Where were the fire truck? Where were the fire service? You know, and now you put in and how I see it personally, you want to put this young lady at the blame this young lady for everything, but you cannot do that. There should be independent investigation.
Yeah, thank you so much. I noticed some people Guyanese have a way of just going off into other subject. They're talking about internet and what's the internet service? It seems very strong there in Kenya, though, right? Compared to.
Yes. You have as long you're in a certain direction here, you get the internet clear.
But thank you so much for your time. We'll be hearing from you more. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, we have G.R. Crawford with us this morning. Mr. Crawford, good morning. With the latest development, I was just about to show a video with the leader of the opposition, Aubrey Norton, in Mahdia, and talking to some of the people there on the ground. It shed a different light as to what the PPP wants to package and put out there. And I must say that, we should not jump at all to believe the narrative that's being put out there by the PPP about this particular event, this horrific situation that happened at that dorm that caused the lives of 19 young people. Quickly, before we get to that tape, Mr. Crawford, your perspective on things.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Mr. Benshaw.
Morning, sir. Yeah.
When you look at the rush to judgment from the installed regime, you see that pattern where no focus, no respect, or no care and concern are shown across the country without looking at anything, without using proper expertise. They assume that the fire was started by an individual. Now, this is not a wood building. This is a concrete building. And if you look at the video of the way the fire was risen, you would understand that concrete don't burn the same way as wood do. And we have to understand that there are electric wires running there. And from information from people who live very, very close to that facility, there were work being done on that building recently. But, we're seeing where this young lady is being blamed for everything. Then they're pushing her. First off, let's assume that it was the young lady's doing. There are different ways and means how to go about it. Remember, these are minors. You cannot just push these things and all these social media. She has access to these things. And then you parade these young children, in public. Mr. O'Brien is right. when they're traumatized, you got to keep them away from certain situations, and you cannot be parading them in public. Their minds are not fully developed. They would not know how to operate in front of a crowd or an interviewer. And we're seeing a rush to make things look good by this government, and it's not the right thing to do. That they don't understand the human behavior, or they don't want to understand. You don't take minors and force them in the spotlight as after a tragic incident. We have seen where adults cannot relate the correct information when they're stressed out.
They just wouldn't happen to know that. It is sad that the Minister of Education has said, as it pertains to that, has said that it's okay. The kids give permission. The kids said it's okay. They don't mind going. Those kids are 12, 10, 9, 11. Come on. So ridiculous. Only in Guyana these nonsense are allowed to happen.
Well,
and these idiots like Priya Manik-Chan are allowed to sit there in government office collecting salaries from at the end of the month.
If the kids are minor and they are taking the word of a minor saying, okay, then let's give them driver's license too at 12. These people are stupid.
Mr. Crawford, let's go quickly to this video out there in Mahdia, and then we'll come back and spend a few more minutes. And this is yesterday out in Mahdia. I want to say also that to congratulate and salute those brave people out in Mahdia. Lots and lots of brave people, lots and lots of heroes out there in Mahdia. A tremendous amount of heroes are right there in Mahdia. Had it not been for those people on the ground, I don't know what would have happened to the rest of those kids. 64 plus of them were in that building. 19 of them died, several injured. Had it not been for the bravery of those people, and we also, under the circumstances, must say thank you to those fire service guys as well on the ground. Everybody chipped in, everybody. And people are annoyed that even as Irfan Ali went out there, Irfan Ali shut the community out, ignored the community, disrespected the community. And I think people are upset by that. Very, very upset by that, because the agenda of the PPP is to cover things up. But let's head to this video here with the leader of the opposition, Aubrey Norton, out in Mahdia yesterday.
I get it. He just keeps screaming. So the dog was screaming and crying. They're already crying. So when I call them, somebody cry on the dorms. So normally, as men, we sleep with the underwear alone. So I run on the stairs straight up to the dorms. When I go to the dorms more than already getting some of the children. So I just bore sheep and go start pick up the children, pick up. Because they were screaming, back and forth and screaming. The screaming so much that I even know which one to tend to. So I just pick up. But the idea is the screaming started screaming. Some started screaming close to me. So I just grab. Grab. I get on no pants, no short. I was just going in this with smoke, but it's fire yet, but it's DT. I even while going in, I stumbled over some of them. Because I tell myself it was those who screaming, not those who already knocked out. And after I go pick up two to the last one, pick up sir, I'm going with them and after I'm going like a feeling because while going, I said, no, we're going back for these two. Go back and pick them up and bring them out. They start marching, start coming. We start breaking this grill with a 6x6. Break, this grill, they're so strong that this grill and move it. So I decide, what's on my hair, what happened? I going back in the fire again. I going back and check what is yours. I just screaming all the time. It didn't easy to hear somebody screaming for help. So I go and get sheep and bring sheep. After that, I get back out again. Well, by the time that the police people start coming around, so I carried the car is quite safe. I'm just getting them out. In and out. The gate was locked. I even blazed the security guard. I said, you work at the hospital. daytime you working like you got to sleep. You can't keep up. You have to sleep. You work reaction later, you work in nighttime. Must sleep. You got to sleep. She don't want to go in the gate. She don't want to go in. If I open the gate was locked. So she just probably went to sleep, or I don't know where she was. So I opened the gate. They found no tired. They opened. The lady started taking.
Which can debunk a lot of rumors.
But to be honest, I didn't know the building. So I was just using my hands to scan. So when I went to the back, the child screaming, so what they just screaming. You know, I gave the smoke. I see these children. And the smoke was so dark, probably more dark than a month.
They got confused. The adrenaline to get them out. You don't feel it.
I even found some of them, drag them. I check you down there already, so now left you radio. Covered those, don't peeling already.
Okay.
Peeling out already. Some screaming at the back. I brush to the back, collect one, bring shit to the front. Some screaming with close to me, screaming, help. But I try to tell them, control. I get the cells out about 4 or 5 minutes ago. By the smoke.
Yeah.
I just say to myself, don't let the smoke knock me out. But when I pick up the two, I go down and pick up the two. So when I come out to them, so I feel like I get tired. Not the smoke, I'm getting tired. I drop them and go back and pick them up. This is why some of them didn't get born. They get born here, but not the roots.
Hearing some negative things. When my husband went there, it was already a lot of fire. No guard was there. The gate was locked. And this thing happened really fast. We had no time to save everyone. My husband is hurt to know that if he could have saved these children and the building burned, he's traumatized. I'm hearing screaming in my ears. And people are just saying so much of negative things. Yes, because when Mr. President was here, he met with the parents for the children who were never here. They just came from the north and wherever, and they had no idea what happened. On the ground, we are here and nobody come and ask us. And when my husband do open the window and look out, he said, Samantha, the dorm's on fire. He was in his boxers without no slippers and run. And fire was already big out there and we didn't hear help. And then they're hearing they had security. We had no security there. Yes, I want the truth to go out there. The dorm's mother was there. I rescued her when she ran with some of her children without no clothes. And I had to rescue them with clothes.
Yeah, because they were saying that the dorm's mother wasn't there.
No, that's a lie.
I'm glad that you just clarified. So
that is a lie. She was there. And the door was open.
One dorm's mother look after
and one dorm's mother they have, and they want her to work 24/7 day and night. She is a human. She need rest. And somebody threatening you and you take it for granted. Only for wake up to hear your baby is not there.
Mr. Crawford, you heard that. To all of our listeners, you heard that. These are the other side of the story that the installed PPP regime do not want people to hear at all. They're covering things up. We are hearing that their firefighters are upset. They're traumatized as well. One fire truck, no water, no nothing, and they couldn't get back access to the place. They have put in for equipment. The basic equipment that they don't have for the fire service there in Mahdia, all as a result of an incompetent, a corrupt government, and more so an incompetent minister of Home Affairs, right? But they're more bent on giving out $1 billion of contracts to their friends and cronies. But to equip a fire service, a fire station as Mahdia, they haven't done so. We also heard that, according to the Stabrook News, the Ministry of Home Affairs is claiming that there were 2 fire inspections conducted, one in November last year, I believe, and the other one in February of this year. I heard that that's a lie. That earlier this year, when fire inspectors arrived at the dorm, they were told that they cannot enter. And the fire inspector said, well, look, do you know the powers of a fire inspector? The person said they don't care. They went on the phone, probably called somebody in the PPP, and that was it. There was absolutely none whatsoever inspection, none whatsoever. The cover-ups is just too much, way too many. Mr. Crawford, you just saw that video. You heard from these community people, these villagers out there in Mahdia, these heroes whom I think should be honored by the city council there by the mayor and the deputy mayor. They should be honored with immediate effect, given the key to the city, whether in Georgetown, whether right there in Mahdia, wherever, they should be honored. Mr. Crawford.
Mark, it's good that there is another side to the story, and this shows that we must have an independent COI. And when you listen to the people who are right there, you have a better understanding of what transpired that fateful night. And hence the reason for the government of the day not to rush to judgment or try to put a lid on this incident, this unfortunate incident, by saying that little girl started the fire. There is no reason not to take your time to do an investigation as to make sure that when you come out with something, it's credible and it's the truth. But we're seeing more of the disrespect to certain types of citizens because they are not, in their eyes, our people. And that's the problem. That area is a PNC area. And to have 60-something children under one supervision is virtually impossible to have them monitored properly or even nurtured or counseled in the right manner. You're out on the coastline in your areas with all these funny 40 hours a week work. Why couldn't that same area benefit from what you're doing if you're telling your international bodies that every Guyanese is are being taken care of under this so-called 40 hours a month? And it shows that we are being selective in the way we do things, and we don't deserve to be in leadership position at the time. And it falls right back to the international people who have disrespected our people, our constitution, and the international laws by meddling in our affair to dethrone a democratically elected leader for people who are just there for political financial gains and to use political power to oppress people who do not support their agenda. And looking at 19 young children, we don't know what they may have become as adults, but regardless of what value the people may place on a particular ethnicity, every life lost, especially tragic, is really, really disturbing and uncalled for. And we should not have government institution like that operating under managed and also as a prison into this. And like Obrad said earlier, where are the human rights champions?
We are definitely. Let's points well taken. Let's head back to this part of the tape where it's being described by this woman, Mrs. John, and kudos to her. Salute her for all that she did as well. Saved lives, and these are the heroes that the installed PPP regime they don't want people to see. They don't want to hear this side of the story. But let's get back to this interesting part of the tape.
Them and go back and pick them up. This is why some of them didn't get born. They get born yet, but not the roots.
Hearing some negative things. When my husband went there, it was already a lot of fire. No guard was there. The gate was locked, and this thing happened really fast. We had no time to save everyone. My husband is hurt to know that if he could have saved these children and the building burned. He's traumatized. I'm hearing screaming in my ears. And people are just saying so much of negative things. Yes, because when Mr. President was here, he meet with the parents, with the children who were never here. They just came from the north and wherever, and they had no idea what happened on the ground. We are here and nobody come and ask us. And when my husband do open the window and put, look out, he said, Samantha, the dorm's on fire. He was in his boxers without no slippers and run. And fire was already big out there, and we didn't hear help. And then they're hearing they had security. We had no security there. Yes, I want the truth to go out there. The dorm's mother was there.
So, Mr. Crawford, you heard lots of people are hearing that lots of problems there on the ground. The regime, they're claiming that the house mother was there, but she couldn't find the keys and she couldn't find this, and the key fell on the ground. And we're hearing that the partner of the house mother is a big PPP. So that is why they want to protect and to cover things up. But we must not allow these people to cover things up at all. People are saddened by when they're now hearing other people talking, people on the ground talking about exactly what happened, something that the PPP wanted to cover up. They wanted to ignore these people. But for those who are listening to us from Mahdia right now, I just wish they would shut that tongue down and have a massive protest, because an entire community is now, an entire township is now traumatized by what happened. And the fact that the PPP regime, they're attempting to cover this crime up, and their negligence is something that we have to continue to expose, whether on this forum or other forums. The fact that the PPP is using these little kids as photo ops, and then Priya Manik Chan, who sits there as the Minister of Education, is saying that the kids gave permission, they had no problem going. These are minors. How would Priya Manik Chan like to see her kids show up somewhere without her permission? And when asked why, oh, your kids give us permission. Your kids said it's okay, they don't mind. Mr. Crawford?
Mark, when the government of the day went to Mahdia, the right thing to do, regardless if it's a PNC town, you are to get with the people that are, responsible for the operation of the town and meet with them. But we're seeing the disrespect and everything is political. I would not talk to these people in control of this area because they are PNC people. And that's the stupidity and the wickedness of this administration. We're seeing it in Parliament where the PNC or the opposition folks have ideas that will make the country better, but it cannot be read because let's fight them because they don't support us. And that is what the nation needs to rail against. And at every opportunity to kick these people out, you do not take a country and treat it as if it's your personal yard. It's a sad, tragic occurrence. You go down there, get with the people on the ground, regardless if they're green or red, and speak to them so you can get the truth, because what matters is for us to prevent such a horrific thing to happen in the future. But we are playing politics with our development, with our responsibility as leaders. And, it is uncalled for, it's immature, it's racist, it's evil. You name it, what is bad, that's what it is. And we have to use this opportunity to attack the regime for not respecting people that do not support them. And also we need to have more focus on our human rights. Because not only with this fire situation, if someone sees something wrong and speak out against it, they are being victimized, and people are used to attack people who speak their mind or who expose the truth.
Well said, Mr. Crawford. One of the things that, and those of you who are now joining us, we are still on the situation out there, in a horrific situation in Mahdia. And we are getting other sides, other versions of exactly what transpired, something that the PPP regime have been covering up. We're no longer going to allow them to cover things up. They want to blame one particular young lady, one young girl, and that's it. And we're not accepting that. We're not going to accept that. The government is responsible for exactly what happened. The blame is on their doorsteps. They're trying to, cover the things up by just parading these little kids around, parading them, little kids that they never cared about. They never showed no interest at all in terms of how they live, how they get to school. But they are going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars now parading around, pretending as though they care. Mr. Crawford, some people want to go back to this videotape out there with Aubrey Norton, the leader of the opposition in Mahdia. And I think we should allow them to just hear what transpired and hear it from the horse's mouth. Those people in the community, so to speak, those heroes out there in Mahdia, we salute you guys. Let's head back to that tape, please, Mr. Crawford.
I get it, the dog. It just keeps screaming. Suddenly, go back and 20 minutes, wake up again. The dog is screaming more, crying. They're already crying. So when I call them, I cry on the dorms. So normally, as men, we sleep with the underwear alone. So I run on the stairs straight up to the dorms. When I go to the dorms more than already getting some of the children. So I just more sheep and go start pick up the children, pick up. Because they were screaming, back and forth and screaming. The screaming is someone that I even know which one to tend to. So I just pick up. But the idea is the screaming starts screaming. Some start screaming close to me. So I just grab. Grab. I get on no pants, no short. I was just going in this, what is smoke, what is fire there, what is heaty. I even was going in, I stumbled over some of them. Because I tell myself it was those who screaming, not those who already knocked out. And after I go pick up two, the last one pick up, so I'm going with them, and after I'm going like a feeling weak or something. Why is going? I said, no, we're going back to these two. Go back and pick them up and bring them out. They start. He started breaking this grill. With a 6x6. Break this grill there. This grill. So I decided, well, I'm here, what happened? I going back in the fire again. I going back and check what is yours. I just screaming all the time. It didn't even hear somebody screaming for help. So I go and get sheep and bring shields. After that, I get back out again. But by the time that the police people start coming around, so I can't, the car is quite safe. We're just getting them out. In and out. The gate was locked. I even I said, you walk in the hospital, they tell me walking like you got to sleep. You can't keep up. You have to sleep. You walk in the hospital, they walking like that. You must sleep. You got to sleep. So you don't want to go in the gate, she don't want to go in. If I open the gate was locked. So she just probably went down to sleep, or I don't know where she was. So I opened the gate. They found no one. Tired. They opened. The lady started taking.
Which can debunk a lot of rumors.
But to be honest, I didn't know the building. So I was just using my hands. To scan. So when I went to the back, the child screaming, so but they just screaming. You know, I just smoke. I see these children.
The
And the smoke
adrenaline
was
to
so
get it
dark,
out.
probably more dark than a man.
The adrenaline to get them out. You don't feel it.
I even pulled some of them, drag them. I take you down there already, so now left you radio. Cover them, don't peeling already. Sorry, peeling out already. Some screaming at the back. I brush to the back like one, bring shit to the front. Some screaming with the close to me, screaming, help. But I try to tell them, control. I get the cells off about 4 or 5 minutes to the ground. By the smoke.
Yeah.
I just say to myself, don't let the smoke knock me out. So when I pick up the two, I go down and pick up the tools now. When I come out to them, sir, I feel like I get tired. Not the smoke, I'm getting tired. I drop them and go back and pick them up. This is why some of them didn't get born. They get born here, but not the roots.
Hearing some negative things. When my husband went there, it was already a lot of fire. No guard was there. The gate was locked. And this thing happened really fast. We had no time to save everyone. My husband is hurt to know that if he could have saved these children and the building burned, he's traumatized. I'm hearing screaming in my ears. And people are just saying so much of negative things. Yes, because when Mr. President was here, he met with the parents, with the children who were never here. They just came from the north and wherever, and they had no idea what happened. On the ground, we are here and nobody come and ask us. And when my husband do open the window and look out, he said, Samantha, the dorm's on fire. He was in his boxers without no slippers and run. And fire was already big out there, and we didn't hear help. And then they're hearing they had security. We had no security there. Yes, I want the truth to go out there. The dorm's mother was there. I rescued her when she ran with some of her children without no clothes. And I had to rescue them with clothes.
Yeah, because they were saying that the dorm's mother wasn't there.
No, that's a lie.
I'm glad that you just clarified so.
That is a lie. She was there. And the door was open.
One dorm's mother look after
And one dorm's mother they have, and they want her to work 24/7 day and night. She is a human. She need rest. And somebody threatening you and you take it for granted. You know, I went to bed only for wake up to hear your baby is not there.
All right, so Civic, welcome. You heard there. Everybody heard.
Yeah,
Your
Mark,
take,
yeah.
and that's almost identical to what you have been saying. What's the mood like there now, Civic in Mahdia?
Mark, we got darkness, light. You just got to apply light to see what gone done. And you just got to get rid of these lies. Use the truth, President and Mr. General Secretary and Home Affairs Minister. Use the truth that the two people is saying. I know the gentleman. When I first came here a few years ago, I did his fuel pump and he paid me $45,000. I had no problem with them. And made them become a kind of friend. This is a dangerous thing you're treading on. Face the truth. This is accountability and transparency. Truth, that is all we want. Give us the truth. And if you had come and met President Irfan Ali, with all due respect to whatever, I grew with your grandfather and I begging you, 2 years ago, me and my granddaughter were picketing that school, begging you, Mr. President, and Mistress Priya Manik Chan to come and help us in the school. It's the same thing I were going to. People curse me. They insulted me. They call me a dog. All sort of things. Every day I face it out there. I will battle it. If I'm to die, I will die. I have my purpose. This is wrong. And you and the PPP executive have to deal with this matter. This is a simple matter that you can deal with. You have to begin to dismiss.
Civic, obviously they don't want to deal with the truth. Irfan and
that is it. They don't want to deal with the truth. When you talk now, you are being victimized.
What is the mood like on the ground now? What are the people saying?
Everything stands the same place. Everybody's lost. We waiting on upliftment to roar, to kill that crying song. And the answer that the voice we really love to hear is that you are being dismissed. And we are going to take all legal actions against you. Whatever. And we will roar for that. That is what we want. Don't try to save the devil, sir. Your parents, Mr. President, and your grandfather. Don't stick nonsense at all.
So what are the, as your grandkids and these other folks, I can just imagine, and the kids within the entire township, how traumatized they are, sir.
They are battered. They are battering the kids them more. That is what they did to exhibit and show the world that they are doing good and take them out the hospital and trying to show the world those sick, painful, broken, lost, in tears. Hey, what you take them there for? They want their parents to hug them, kiss them, lick their face with their tongue, their ears, bring them near you. You wouldn't do them that. You don't meet the stage yet, President. You're young yet. Your grandfather, we want them near us. That is what we need. We don't need to take them exhibit, beauty salon, show world, universal pageant. No, 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 sir. This would not be leaving us unless the truth, Gandhi, come to the front. And if you can't bring Gandhi to the front, we would not be accepting Muhammad at all. If you cannot bring Gandhi to the front, we will not be accepting Muhammad. You have to. We want the truth. The truth will give us justice. And that justice would give us peace or deliver us or dismiss them. Deliver us or we beg you, fan.
You know, sorry, we lost Civic there, but it makes no sense beg these demonic forces, begging these demons for anything. People got to demand, not beg. And that tongue should have been shut down by now because people are traumatized. That entire township. Mr. Crawford, you heard there from Civic, who is on the ground. People want answers. They're not getting answers.
Mark, it's clear as day that the current administration, they look at areas that aren't their strongholds or their support base, and they treat them as if they're not part of this country. And that is what we need to educate our citizens that, look, in Guyana at this juncture, you're not allowed to be an independent thinker. And if you see what is going on, the behavior pattern of this administration, we have to go out there and get together so we can get these people out of office. You can't go into a situation, especially a tragic situation, and not want to be an open-minded person. When somebody is chosen as a leader of a country, you're not a leader for your support base. You're a leader for every single citizen of the country. Regardless of how you got into office, it is some dignity should be within you where you try to do the right thing as much as you may be garbage. Do the right thing because of the position you're holding. The presidency of a country is for the people, not for political party backing. And one of the reasons I would say is because these folks that unfortunately lost their lives are Amerindian descendants. And that's the reason they are not viewed as or in the same light as the people on the coastline who supports this administration. And it's a sad situation that we are playing politics with tragedy. And more so, it should have been avoided because of the way it's structured. We talk about the monies allocated for education and security. Well, where was the attempt or the effort to make sure that these kids were supervised properly with adequate amount of staff, and also not housed in an establishment that is fit for pigs? That's the only livestock you lock up that way. There's no fire exit. There's no extinguishers there. Proper fencing for the facility isn't seen. And more so, it's educational. Why aren't we seeing that the proper supervision team was in place, especially at nights? Where are the securities and all this great stuff? So what we're seeing here in this country is once you're a buddy, you will so-called get by with all the fancy niceties, and people who don't support them don't have the goods and services, and that is something I've been harping on. Goods and services does not mean that you're going out with a grocery bag. It means things that the government of the day must provide for its citizens: safety, security, room for improvement from yesterday to tomorrow. But we're not seeing it. And
We
I do hope that the opposition
yeah.
will use these misstep or this blatant disregard and, bring the points out there and educate the masses. When you look at Ali's behavior and the way he was speaking of the tragedy, you could see that this guy is lost. It's a BS. And
Yeah, we can see that he's
one
definitely
important point, Mark.
Sure. As we
In New Amsterdam, the PPP put out a candlelight notice that they were going to hold a vigil last night. You know where these suckers held the vigil? At Freedom House. Every goddamn thing has to be political. Come on, man. So even if the coalition supporters wanted to go out there to show their sympathy to the families, they're not going to go to Freedom House. So everything is under a political umbrella, because it's a direct force where we're seeing a communist mentality here. For you to do anything of substance or get any benefits from the country, you must leave your independent thinking at home and join a selfish, evil-minded, evil-worshipping group of people, and that is not the way to go.
All right. So with that, now we thank you so much. With that, now we agree with JR that the regime is politicizing almost everything. It is not acceptable. I'm told that tomorrow, I think, that there will be a vigil also in Brooklyn on Church and Rogers Avenue. So for all you folks, Church and Rogers Avenue tomorrow, Church Avenue, right at the corner of Rogers Avenue, 6 p.m. 6 p.m. sharp. Walk with a small candle. Spend a few minutes there on Church, right at the corner of Rogers Avenue. You can't miss it. 6 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, 6 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Go out there with a small candle, congregate. If there any pastor that's listening, head out there. Any magi, any pundit, just head out there tomorrow. All you guys out there in Brooklyn, remember, all of you out there in Brooklyn, tomorrow afternoon, that's tomorrow Friday, 6 o'clock. So when you get off work or whatever, just head down there at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock tomorrow in Brooklyn. Church Avenue, right at the corner of Rogers. Church Avenue, yeah, right at the corner of Rogers. All of you guys out there in Brooklyn. I see here Mohendra Singh. Good morning, Mr. Singh. Mohendra is saying here, every school in Guyana should be investigated to find out what's going on in those schools as it pertains to safety. I agree with you. Mr. Singh, and so true. They have to start. They should have been doing this a year, 2 years, 10 years ago, but it should start now to investigate not only the schools, but buildings with a lot of people inside, including these huge buildings that they're putting up there as well. So thank you for that comment there, Mr. Mohendra Singh. I noticed Miss Bonita Montague is asking, is there a flyer for the event tomorrow? There's not a flyer. There's no flyer, Miss Montague. Sorry about that. But we can just spread it word of mouth if somebody can print a flyer. I know you're oftentimes busy with these activities too, Bonita. But there's no flyer right now for the candlelight vigil for tomorrow out there in Brooklyn. 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. tomorrow on Church Avenue, right at the corner of Rogers Avenue. You cannot miss it. So again, Miss Bonita Montague, there's no flyers. but we can spread the word all over our Facebook page for tomorrow. Walk with a candle. You want to sing some hymns, you want to do something, chant, you want to sing some bhajans. Wayne Caesar, tomorrow is that event out there in Brooklyn, Candlelight Vigil, for the folks who lost their lives in that horrific fire. Hope to see you there tomorrow afternoon too, Mr. Wayne Caesar. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Mark. Morning, GR, and a pleasant good morning to the listeners and viewers.
Morning.
Yeah, there's a candlelight vigil in Brooklyn. Hope that you're able to make it and spread the word around 6 p.m., 6 o'clock tomorrow afternoon at the corner of Church Avenue and Rogers. Church and Rogers Avenue tomorrow, 6 p.m. So with the latest development we are hearing from other people who are telling a different story from how the PPP wants to package it. You had some time to sleep on some of this new information. Go ahead. Anything new, Mr. Caesar?
Well, Mark, it doesn't surprise me that there is new information unfolding with this tragedy. I kind of expected that, we weren't getting, the entire story. And that's usually the case when we have these situations. You don't get the entire story up front. I haven't been able to keep up with the most recent developments. So I don't think I can, fully elaborate on it.
Okay. So, but what are some of your opinion, your sentiments?
What are some of my sentiments? One in particular that really catches me, and it's very upsetting, is that this government finds it convenient now to engage the opposition. Only when there's a tragedy, then to engage the opposition. If I was on the opposition side, I would have my own agenda plan. I will not team up with this government because, I know that we're in a time of mourning, but it doesn't make it right, to get together with a regime that, is not even considering anything that the opposition is bringing to the table. You have to engage the opposition. This is a very weak government, Mark. And, there are certain sectors that they could have gotten the opposition more involved in and, delegate, some duties over to the opposition. Because, look, when we look at the whole structure of a government, the opposition is part of that government. Right. But these guys, there's a lot of money flowing through the country, and these guys are very, very selfish, man. They are very, very selfish. And
Very,
like I
very
said, I
selfish.
lay this whole tragedy at the feet of the PPP. This could have been
Absolutely.
avoided.
And lots of people are beginning to do just that as well. Candlelight Vigil in Brooklyn tomorrow as Church and Rogers Avenues, Church and Rogers Avenues from 6 p.m. sharp. You guys can go out, spread the word. Hope to see you there in your numbers. Walk with a little candle. We will carry it right here live on 107.1 FM tomorrow. You guys just head on out there. As we look to wind down on our program for tonight, for this afternoon, Jack J, we're told, has a press conference at 2 o'clock to chit chat about and the lies and propaganda and so forth. Let me just warn you guys ahead of time, don't believe the propaganda coming out of his mouth. Don't believe anything coming out of his press conference. He's going to come with that sad, that soft, girlish looking tone. Don't fall for it. Mr. Crawford, as we prepare to wrap up, go ahead. What else on your mind?
What I would like to see is that the opposition, the complete team in the opposition, use the opportunity, albeit a hurtful one, to raise awareness to the citizens, to let it revisit certain things in our mind, that those of us who are running for crumbs must look at the neglect that we're seeing is not an oversight but a willful act. And if our younger generations are not cared for or shown any respect, what are we going to have for the future? And Norton needs to hammer home the points on the public platforms with the behavior of the current administration, not getting together with the opposition, not being contrite about things that need to be addressed or should have been addressed. Regardless, some of the issues might even run back way past 2015 when they were in office. We as citizens need to point these things out. We need to have prompt response to things that are going to destroy our future. We must not allow monies to go that should go to our citizens to improve their lives to go unaccounted for. You got $94.4 billion in the educational budget, and you don't have a simple, smoke detector, a simple alarm for anything in our you know school system. We are not seeing improvement in the look. There's so much money. They're building this humongous fire station in Georgia. Where are the carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide powder that will help in you know in fires? Guyana, it's a wood home. We are not seeing adequate fire stations. We are not seeing the fire equipments. It's disturbing when they come, they don't have water. Why can't we have carbon powder now for our fire stations so we can, dose the fires and help to save lives and reduce the loss of property? These are the things that we need to look at, but we're too busy trying to siphon money into personal accounts, and we are not taking into consideration the growth of the nation and the services that must be delivered that is guaranteed under the Constitution. And but one of the most hurtful thing is not engaging the opposition. In 2015 to 2020, Mr. Granger, regardless of how the PPP behaved foolish, he had the respect of the Constitution to engage the opposition. We are not seeing that same behavior. So what does it tell me? That these people have total disrespect for the nation. You got in leadership in questionable manner. You have these opposition, the international people who are running around like fools, breaching our constitution, which we can do in their country. Now we're seeing all of these things being unhearted. We are not seeing the same meddling to benefit the people, and Guyanese should step back from the mirror. The people, that's many of them in this country, are only here to set up and outsource for our resources, our dollars, and then they will smile and leave us there hungry and fighting at each other. Eventually, we will be destroying each other because we were not smart enough to love our neighbors because of race and religion and build our country and protect others from coming in and depleting our resources so we can have a 21st century state of living in this country.
With that said, Mr. Crawford, we thank you so much. We want to hear, since Mr. Caesar joined us a little bit late, of course, not his fault. He's working too. So we thank you, Mr. Caesar, but here's your opportunity to leave us with some sort of comforting words as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mark.
Sure.
Look, this was a real tough week for all Guyanese, and we are still in a state of mourning, and we've had quite a few tragedies this year in Guyana, but none that meets this magnitude. We're gonna mourn, and there's always a period of mourning. But one thing I'm gonna say is that this tragedy and these 19 children, we need to make sure that they're never forgotten. Because these things happen, we mourn for a period of time, and then it just goes away, right? We need to keep the iron in the fire. We definitely need a new government in Guyana. We need change in Guyana. That being said, we know that it may not happen immediately. But in the interim, I would say this, that safety standards across all schools in Guyana needs to improve. Even to the other existing boarding schools, we could start with the boarding schools because those are the schools that students are actually living in. And like I would have said on an earlier show, we need to remove grills, man. We don't need to have grills there. All right. We have enough money allocated to the schools that instead of grills, we should have resources, meaning human resources there to mentor our children and to keep them in line. They don't need to be locked up like if they're in prison. All right. It's not a good thing for their psyche. It's not good for them mentally. If you have to, increase the heights on the fences surrounding these schools, I'm totally in agreement with that. But we should never have grills on buildings going forward, and that should be a part of our safety standards going forward. We have been taught a lesson here. We've
All right.
totally been taught a lesson here. And, going forward, I would encourage all our Guyanese people, it doesn't matter race, creed, class, gender, it doesn't matter. We need to come together as one. This time is a very, very critical time for us. And I'm going to say this again. Let's vote come June 12th in accordance with issues that are affecting us in our communities. Let's vote for policies that we want to see put in place. And whomever is the next government, I would encourage that government to engage the opposition because the opposition is technically a part of the government. Right? What we have now, Mark, like we've been saying, is just a set of gangsters. They don't know about rules, they don't respect rules, they don't respect our constitution, they don't respect laws. Right? When you have lawless leadership in place, society becomes lawless. And we've been seeing what's been going on in society. And it's funny, like I've said this before, these things only happen when the PPP is in power. Barra Jagdeo is a very, very, very evil and wicked individual. Okay? Records show we can see what's going on. Look
All right.
at that face.
Thank
Evil,
you so much,
evil all
Mr.
the way.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you,
Mr.
Mark.
Caesar. We appreciate your time. Also, Mr. Crawford, we appreciate your time as well. This evil man will be speaking at 2 o'clock. We're not sure whether we want to debunk everything because we know that he'll be going there to lie. That is what it's about with him. But again, we just want to recognize those individuals who are the heroes out there in Mahdia, those people who went out and saved lives. They weren't government officials who basically caused all of the problems right there. We're hearing something, and quickly before we go, because we really have to, there's an unfortunate situation we're hearing, and this is according to the PPP propaganda website, NCN. They're saying breaking news: Mahdia child, close friend of fire victim, consumes poison, currently receiving. And this is what is happening now. These kids are traumatized. These are the very kids that Priya Manik Chand and Barajak Dev and all of them taken out there to parade them in front of the public. And then for her to say that the kids, they ask the kids whether they're okay with it, and the kids say yes. Little kids.
Mark,
Yes,
Mark,
sir. Before we go ahead.
Mark, I do have a question because instead of the government going to console the families, do we have grief counselors in Guyana?
Well,
Because I
they
think,
should have counselors. We're hearing that some folks from the University of Guyana heading there. They get some folks from the opposition. They get some folks from the hospitals and so forth. We need a lot of these people. Experts we need. We don't need people who are not experts and just
Mark,
gaffers or whatever. But we do need experts on the ground. This is not to knock the gaffers. Sometimes people just need a little talk, someone to talk to, and they need a lot of that. But these kids, these young kids, they need professional help. They are traumatized, and it's evil what these people, what you see Onage Waldron is doing there. It's evil of her. It's evil of Irfan. It's evil of Priya Manik Chand. There's no justification. But gentlemen, we really have to go. But you were saying, Mr. Caesar, quickly.
yeah, no, you said that these people were on the way. This tragedy happened since Monday. I mean, what are we waiting for? If they were already there, maybe that child would not
But
have
there are folks,
consumed.
there are folks on the ground, I'm told, but we need lots more. And
Yeah, yeah.
these kids need proper counseling. Proper counseling. That's what they need. Anyways, looks as though JR has another 30 seconds. 30 seconds, Mr. Crawford.
Mark,
Yes,
I
30 seconds. Go ahead, sir.
no, I have to laugh when you have all of these international bodies that are sitting here in Georgetown, and we can't see where they are coming out to, to scold the PPP on their behavior on human rights, and also on the disrespectful behavior towards the opposition. And we're claiming that this is a democratic nation. How can one improve if you're not being scrutinized honestly on your faults or on the need for improvement? If no one tells you, you're not going to know what you're doing, if it's good or bad. And the PPP has all their subordinates, buffled, and no one could open them out because everybody is fearful of losing the almighty dollars that they're gaining. I'm seeing people, soup drinkers, who claim to be contractors, who are dilly-dallying on both sides of the fence, whoever, and greasing people, talking garbage about the investigation of the fire is completed, story done, we need to move on. That is all they do. They don't care. They don't have the respect for the mothers or the family who have lost loved ones in this situation. And if you look at the last couple of days, there's so much blood on our roadways. One has to wonder if this country is under a demon spell.
All right. So with that said, though, but we really have to go, and we end off your question, if the country is under a demon spell. The answer is obvious, Mr. Crawford. Just take a look at the screen. The answer is obvious. Mr. Caesar, you had something. I saw your hand up.
Yeah,
Quickly,
wanted,
because we
yeah,
do have to
this
go.
is going to be very quick.
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to respond to JR there quickly and let him understand that the international community, they are here for an extraction process. They are here to extract wealth. I don't see them trying to bring anything of value back into the country and try to push something towards the people. They are here basically to take care of their interests. And whenever something is beneficial to their interests, they are going to find it convenient to speak.
All
Now,
right. So,
with this situation here, I was looking forward to at least hearing from one of the ambassadors or somebody. And I am not surprised that we have not heard anything from them.
all
But
right.
they're here just to
On that note,
extract.
we really have to go, though. Time is
Yep.
we really do have to go. But thank you so much, gentlemen. I appreciate all the time that you take to just hop on to share your views. Thank you both. All right, and to all of our listeners, we thank you so much as well. Sorry we had to cut Mr. Caesar off and Mr. Crawford, because they can go on until tomorrow morning by speaking, but we definitely have to go. Crawford said that it seems as though there's some sort of spell, demonic spell or something. Take a look at the one in the red tie. Yes, indeed, demonic, and listen out for all of his lies. We will counter all of his lies. Demonic, no sympathy, no nothing, no hearing, no sighting of him, nothing at all. But he's going to pop out of the closet. Temporarily, he's coming out of the closet this afternoon. He will be out of the closet this afternoon. All right, with that said, continue to pray for the people there, the victims, the relatives of those who have died, and those who are still in the hospital, and those little kids who are being used by the PPP regime. We've got to continue to pray for the entire community as well. And don't forget, tomorrow afternoon, 6 p.m., Church and Rogers Avenues, Church and Rogers in Brooklyn, 6 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Walk with a candle. Tell your friends. There's no flyers right now for that, but those who can spread the word, please spread the word. 6 p.m., 6 o'clock tomorrow afternoon in Brooklyn, a candlelight vigil for those 19 young souls that we have lost. Tomorrow, 6 o'clock in Brooklyn. Spread the word. All right, I'll leave you with this tape of the leader of the opposition in Mahdia. In the event that you haven't heard it, it will open your eyes to a lot of things, unanswered questions. Be strong. I'll see you guys later.
He just keeps screaming. Suddenly, go back and 20 minutes, wake up again. The dog don't scream anymore, just crying. They're already crying. So I call them, like, cry on the dorms. So, normally, as men, we sleep with the underwear alone. So I run on the stairs straight up to the dorms. When I go to the dorms more than already getting some of the children. So I just bore sheep and go start pick up the children. Pick up. Because they were screaming, back and forth, and screaming. The screaming is someone that I even know which one to tend to. So I just pick up. But the item is the screaming starts screaming. Some start screaming close to me. So I just grab. Grab. And get on no pants, no short. I was just going in this with smoke, but it's fire yet, but it's heaty. I even while going in, I stumble over some of them. Because I tell myself it was those who screaming, not those who already knocked out. And after I go pick up two, the last one pick up, so I'm going with them, and after I go like a feeling because why going and say no, we're going back for these two. Go back and pick them up and bring them out. They start walking, start coming. He start breaking this grill with a 6x6. Break this grill. They're so strong that this grill and move it. So I decide, well, my hair will happen. I going back in the fire again. I going back and check what is yours. I just screaming all the time. It didn't easily hear somebody screaming for help. So I go and get she and bring she out. After that, I get back out again. Well, by the time that the police people start coming around, so I can't the car is quite safe. We're just getting them out. In and out. The gate was locked. I even blazed the security guard. I said, you work at the hospital. They tell me working like you got to sleep. You can't keep up. You have to sleep. You work right after Sunday, you working like time. You must sleep. You got to sleep. So you don't want to go in the gate. She don't want to go in. If I opened the gate was locked. So she just probably went down to sleep, or I don't know where she was. So I opened the gate. If from lower, the lady start taking.
Which can debunk a lot of rumors.
But to be honest, I may know the building. So I was just using my hands. So when I went to the back, the child screaming, so what they just screaming. You know, I did smoke. I see these children. And the smoke was so dark, probably more dark than a man.
The adrenaline to get them out, you don't feel
I
anything.
even found some of them, drag them, I check you down there already, so now left you radio. Cover them, don't peel it already.
Okay.
Peel it out already. Some scream at the back. I brush to the back, collect one, bring shit to the front. Some scream with the close in the ear, scream, help. But I try to tell them, control. I get the cells off, about 4 or 5 minutes on the ground. By the smoke.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
I just say to myself, don't let the smoke knock me out. But when I pick up the tooth, I go down and pick up the tools now. When I come out to them, sir, I get them tired. Not the smoke, I'm getting tired. I drop them and go back and pick them up. This is why some of them didn't get born. They get born here, but not the roots.
Hearing some negative things. When my husband went there, it was already a lot of fire. No guard was there. The gate was locked. And this thing happened really fast. We had no time to save everyone. My husband is hurt to know that if he could have saved these children and the building burned, he's traumatized. I'm hearing screaming in my ears. And people are just saying so much of negative things. Yes, because when Mr. President was here, he met with the parents for the children who were never here. They just came from the north and wherever, and they had no idea what happened. On the ground, we are here and nobody come and ask us. And when my husband do open the window and look out, he said, Samantha, the dorm's on fire. He was in his boxers without no slippers and run. And fire was already big out there and we didn't hear help. And then you're hearing they had security. We had no security there. Yes, I want the truth to go out there. The dorm's mother was there. I rescued her when she ran with some of her children without no clothes. And I had to rescue them with clothes.
Yeah, because they were saying that the dorm's mother wasn't there.
No, that's a lie.
I'm glad that you just clarified. So
that is a lie. She was there. And the door was open.
One dorm's mother look after
and one dorm's mother they have, and they want her to work 24/7 day and night. She is a human. She need rest. And somebody threatening you and you take it for granted. You know, I went to bed only for wake up to hear your baby is not there.
Yeah, man. We want to heal the world. All the people, boys and girls. So there's a place in your heart, and I know that it is love. Be much brighter than tomorrow. And if you really try, you'll find there's no need to cry. In this place, you feel there's no hurt or sorrow. There are ways to get there. If you care enough for the living, make it a better place. So heal the world, make it a better place. And for the entire human race, people dying. If you care enough for the living, place for you and for me. You want to know why? There's a lie. Love is strong. It only can bend. If we try in this bliss, we cannot fear. Stop existing and start living. Then it feels that always for its growing. Make a better world. Make it a better world. Heal the world. Make it a better place. For you and for me and the entire human race. People dying. If you caring, make a better place for you and for me. received, then will reveal a kiss. Once believed, then will shine again in grace. We keep strangling life, womb is holy, world is heavenly. Be God's glow. We could fly up so high, let our spirits never die. In this heart, I feel that you are my brother. We're a world with no fear. Together we'll cry happy tears. In this place, you feel that there is no sorrow. We could laugh if we care enough for the living. Make a little space, make it a better place. Heal the world, make it a better place. For you and for me and the entire human race. There are lying if you care enough for a little better place. For you and for me. Heal the world.